Hey, boy, you didn't let me finish, motherfuckers. God damn. I'm sorry, black people, to break the news so publicly, but I can't smoke with you anymore. Every time I smoke weed with my black friends, all you talk about is your trials and tribulations. I'm sick of that shit. I got my own problems. Nigga, that's a waste of weed. I'm smoking weed to run away from my problems, not take on yours. From now on, I smoke weed exclusively with white people. Calm down, motherfuckers. You win by default. You got good weed conversation. All white people talk about when they get high is other times that they got high. I can listen to that shit all night. Dude, remember at Frank's last week? It's fucking smashed, man. And catalogs everything they drink. 2 shots of Jaeger, tequila, 4 bong hits, man, beer, cheeseburger.
Enjoy your motherfucking life. That's all the fuck I'm saying. Enjoy your goddamn life. Life is fucking short. Enjoy that shit. Some of y'all just need to smoke some weed and see if it don't help the quality of your motherfucking life. I know, I see some of y'all. Look, I understand. If you ain't smoking weed because you got a good job, then by all means make your paper, boo-boo. But if you ain't got no job and you not smoking weed, I don't know what the fuck you are doing with your life. I really don't. I really don't. Don't give me that shit about it's a drug. It ain't no motherfucking drug. I done the research. It's just a plant. It just grows like that. And if you should happen to set it on fire, there are some effects. But that's not the same as drugs. Drugs, you got to do shit to it chemically. You got to add baking soda, water, stir it up. I don't know the recipe. I'm just saying. It's some shit you got to do to it. But why the fuck is it illegal? I don't know. Aspirin is perfectly legal, but if you take 13 of them motherfuckers, it'll be your last headache. Long as you been living, you ain't never heard of a motherfucker overdose on marijuana. You might have thought that nigga was dead. He ain't dead. He gonna wake up in 30 minutes, hungry enough to eat up everything in your house. That's the side effect. Hungry, happy, sleepy. That's it. And if you can just get that in your system, it could change your life. Some of y'all be crying about bills you can't pay. Just, I don't know what I'm gonna do about this light bill. They want the whole thing. They don't want a piece of it, a deposit. Just hit the blunt one time and see if it don't change your perception of what's important in your life. You just, I don't know what I'm gonna do about this life. Fuck them goddamn lights. I got 12 candles. I've been waiting to burn them bitches.
And the government always says drugs are illegal because they're bad for you and we're trying to protect society. But the government don't give a fuck about your safety. They sell guns at Walmart. They don't give a fuck about you. Shit. Nah, the government's like this. The government, they don't want you to use your drugs. They want you to use their drugs. So every night on TV, you see a weird-ass drug commercial trying to get you hooked on some legal shit. And they just keep naming symptoms till they get one that you fucking got, okay? It's like, are you sad? Are you lonely? You got athlete's foot? Are you hot? Are you cold? What you got? You want this pill, huh, motherfucker? You got to take this pill. They don't even tell you what the pill does. You see a lady on a horse or a man in a tub, and they just keep naming symptoms. Are you depressed? Are you lonely? Do your teeth hurt? What the fuck? I saw a commercial the other day that said, do you go to bed at night and wake up in the morning? Oh shit, they got one. I got that. I'm sick. I need that pill. The government trying to get you hooked on some legal fucking shit. And that's the truth, man. Shit. The reason coke and weed are illegal in America don't got shit to do with your safety. The reason coke and weed are illegal in America is because the best coke and weed ain't made in America.
The wrong way to go about it is simply to think that if you just crack down, lock up, don't care about recidivism rates, etc., that somehow you're going to see major improvement. And unfortunately, that's been the approach that we've taken, particularly when it comes to nonviolent drug offenses. Again, I've got 2 kids, so I don't want anybody pushing drugs on them. And we want to take that seriously as a crime. But what we also have to recognize is that if you've got a nonviolent drug offender, particularly if they're kids, effectively kids, even if they're tried as adults, even if they're 18, 19, 20, that the worst thing we can do is to lock them up for a long period of time without any education, if they're functionally illiterate, without any skills or training where they can get a real profession. They're now convicted felons. We release them. Now they're 25, 26. They're out on the streets, can't be hired by anybody. What are they going to do? They're going to go back to dealing drugs. Only now they've gotten, they've probably become more locked into a life of crime because of their stay in a prison. So to the extent that we can look at diversion programs that use drug courts, that treat those who have substance abuse problems, that encourage training and skills and literacy, even while people are being punished for their drug crimes. The more we take that kind of approach, the more effective we are in reducing recidivism rates. That's not going to be perfect. I mean, there are going to be some folks who need to be locked up. And you know, we don't want to be, you know, Pollyannish about it. But the fact is, we now have 2 million people who are locked up. We have by far the largest prison population per capita of any place on earth, with the possible exception of China, maybe formerly the Soviet Union. I mean, they're just, you know, they're just a handful of countries that have this same kind of incarceration rate. No other advanced liberal democracy has this kind of incarceration rate. And the last point I want to make is there does appear to be a racial component to some of the arrest, conviction, prosecution rates when it comes to these offenses. And that's something I think we should take seriously. That's not a black or white issue, that's an American issue. Our basic precept is equality under the law, and we've got to have a president and a Justice Department, the Civil Rights Division, that is willing to enforce the law equally. Doesn't matter, if we're going to have drug laws, it shouldn't matter that you're dealing them in public housing versus a suburb out of your mom's backyard. That has to be a basic precept, and that means everybody that is invested in our legal system, everybody feels a part of it, and that means it'll be easier to enforce.
According to Human Rights Watch, African Americans were arrested as much as 5.5 times as whites on drug charges every year for the past 3 decades. The trend dates back to the 80s, the earliest date with complete data. About 1 in 3 people arrested on drug charges are African American. The report says, quote, Jim Crow may be dead, but the drug war has never been colorblind. Although whites and blacks use and sell drugs, the heavy hand of law is more likely to fall on black shoulders. The Human Rights Watch report's called Decades of Disparity, Drug Arrests, and Race in the United States.
But I'm not somebody who believes in legalization of marijuana. What I do believe is that we need to rethink how we are operating in the drug wars, and I think that currently we are not doing a good job.
That was then State Senator monochrome shirt and tie wearing Barack Obama at a debate during his 2004 run for the United States Senate. He was saying there that he was in favor of dialing back the criminalization of marijuana, even though he wasn't in favor of legalizing it entirely. Today, now, President Obama's Vice President Joe Biden introduced the Obama administration's pick for drug czar. He is Seattle Police Chief Gil Kurlikowski. What do we know about Mr. Kurlikowski? Well, first and most importantly, we know that he is not the same guy as the last guy to have this job. The drug czar under George W. Bush was John Walters, who famously in 2003 said that arguments in favor of the medically prescribed use of marijuana make no more sense than arguments for, quote, medical crack, end quote. Because marijuana and crack, you know, those are exactly the same thing. Although the Drug Policy Alliance, which favors decriminalization, has said that they lament the fact that the president has chosen a police chief to be drug czar. As police chiefs go, Chief Kurlikowski is well regarded on the issue. The Associated Press today citing Seattle drug reform activists calling him smart,